train, like let's take 1 second. The fact that we can't hit in the pits is pretty rad, but I dig it. That's sick. That looks sweet. That looks sick. And then from here on out, it's pretty much smooth sailing. Up to third we go. A little backy into the first turn. Back up to third here if you need to. I failed my clutch kick a little bit there. I don't actually have to heel toe a lot of these. I just like to because I've been doing some Touge driving and it's a good habit. But usually, here's a fun fact for you. So heel toe is like a grip driving technique, right? And what you do is you brake with the toe of your right foot on the brake pedal. And then you blip the throttle with the heel like that. I didn't actually have to because I just left it in second, but you brake with the heel of your right foot, or sorry, blip throttle with the heel in order to rev match the engine for a downshift. So if I'm in third gear and I'm going down to second like that, it allows me to get into gear smoother and faster, which for grip is really important. But you don't really have to do that for drifting, because you're not trying to be smooth in the first place. I mean, you are, but what I mean is a lot of times if I come off of throttle for very long, like if I do an e-brake drag, when I come back on throttle, I usually do so with a clutch kick. And if you're clutch kicking anyway, then there's not really any need to rev match because you're going to over rev the car. So instead we can just come down here, come down to second, and then clutch kick back in like so. Likewise on this turn we'll do that again. We'll power out up to third. Now we're going to come in here, we're just going to clutch in, foot brake, downshift, charge up a clutch kick, and then let off the wheel, or let off the clutch pedal like that. So there's really no need to do all that. It just looks badass. And as someone who does both grip and drift in real life and to a degree in the simulator, I don't usually make time to do a whole lot of grip stuff, but I enjoy it. Solidly a mid-pack kind of driver though. I'm not the fastest. Oh, too much angle coming out. It's just fun to do. Let's see, if you're asking when do you want to heel toe, a good example is T1 Monza. So, yeah, these cars, I mean, I can sort of demonstrate it in grip, but it's gonna these cars don't handle well for grip anyway, and it's gonna piss everybody off, which is my favorite, so let's do it. So if you're grip driving, the problem is, when you come into a turn like this, if you don't heel toe, like we're in third, right? You get on the gas, then you're gonna shift down, and then you have to rev match before you can get back into the power like this. So if you're in third and you heel toe, if you know how, you can get into second during the downshift so that you're instantly able to get on power. Whereas if you don't know how to heel toe, you're actually doing this, where you're having to, like, in the area where you could have been accelerating, you are having to execute the shift. I mean, it's either that or you're going to be in third and you're going to downshift and you just let the clutch out, and that's going to cause the rear wheels in some degree to lock up, and that will mess you up. So the car's going to get unbalanced and you're not going to be able to drive it on the knife edge with confidence in grip, because it's going to be like pulling the e-brake when you are trying to get on the throttle all of a sudden, like when that clutch is let out. So If you understand like how manuals work, it may make more sense. If you haven't really driven a manual, it may not, but that's kind of the gist. I'm gonna try and catch up with turbo here, which is gonna involve some unusual cuts for just a second, just to keep the viewing experience active. Okay, and we've made it. He stayed in second gear. I went up to third thinking he was going to drive the track like me, which, you know, you got to make some sort of a guess. He did not. And so then I was hamstrung because I was bogging really hard. Woo, my bad. All right. The hardest thing, and it's really fun, but the hardest thing is when you're coming into a deceleration area in drift. So like that turn where you've done a manji and then you're coming up to a hairpin right, because you can catch up during that decel zone on the lead car. And even if you don't need to catch up, even if you're already close, figuring out when in the transition the lead car is going to hit the brakes and start slowing down and matching to them is so much fun. Like, there's just, you can't hardly describe it, but when you've got, especially in real life, a good friend that you're driving with, you know how they drive, and just you perfectly just in right behind them and lock in, it feels so awesome. In that case, I did it totally wrong, because some folks will hit the brake here before they've actually transitioned. Other folks will go to angle and then they'll hit the brakes. I usually do it after straight ahead, unless it's a very, very strong decel zone, in which case I'll actually start braking as soon as I start the transition. But I just think that's a really fun note about the lead car and chasing them down. So that's always fun. There goes the KA240. FV Mod said he was down. Let's see. Oh, am I in third? Nope, I'm just bogged out on turbos. Alright, we've got the whole crew. Danger close. Is indeed danger. And is indeed close. Turn off driver names because it looks cooler that way. And as you guys know who watch the stream pretty regularly, being not the second car introduces an added level of challenge, because now you have to do everything you normally do, keep your eye on the lead car, and predict whether they're going to put you in a dangerous spot if you follow them, and try to follow them. But then, in between doing all that, you also have to keep your eye on the second car in this case. And attempt to predict what they're going to do based on what the lead car is doing. So if the lead car biffs it and has to get on the brakes, you got to figure out, you know, or like if the lead car does a little bit of a backy, you've got to figure, what do I think the chase car that is in front of me is going to do, and how do I adapt to that? I get a little bit more conservative when I'm not the second car. But that's because I really don't want to, like, real life drifting is expensive enough without having to break and fix your car in tandem crashes. So I really try not to get too many of those. Oof, server was getting a little bit, and it is remaining a little bit bumpy there. Oh no, we're way off. It's okay. I think even going off in real life on this track wouldn't actually hurt things very much. Alright, we are following Turbo R. Letting him know that we're up here. And he's bogged it. I tried to give him a sim drifting love tap to let him know, like, hey man, get on throttle, it's all good. I'll keep you sideways. But he wasn't feeling it. I am not having any trouble keeping up with this car though, so in a few turns I'll be back on doors. We're going to go up to third gear to get that extra speed. Nope, back down to second because we are caught up. So, my new technique is going to be to e-brake here. Ooh, that was tight, but it was exactly what we needed. Ooh, a little left foot brake. You could use a clutch kick right there just to protect you from running out of momentum. So what I'm seeing with Turbo is that he's not using clutch kicks really, and he's using a lot of coasting instead of, oh sorry, my bad. He's using a lot of coasting instead of foot brake as well, which is fine. There's no right or wrong answer. But what I mean is just that, we'll kick it in and do a lead run for the guys real quick. It makes it easy to follow once you figure out that that's how it's going to be. Because a lot of folks, myself included, accelerates hard up to a turn and then brakes hard into the turn. You'll see here again, watch my feet, I'll be on it, and then I'll give a decent amount of foot brake, do a downshift. Here again, well, I kind of botched it. We'll stay on it. We'll do foot brake and e-brake to maintain angle because I like to go fast. And so what you'll find is a lot of accelerating up to the turn and then foot brake to slow down and then accelerate out. What I feel like I was getting from Turbo in the lead position is a little bit more flowy driving. Nothing wrong with it, but instead of that, it would be like let off early and just e-brake around the turn, or coast around the turn, let off earlier, coast longer instead of foot braking. So like you can let off here and then roll back into it here, and the car goes around the same kind of an arc. You can get on throttle here and then let off here and just wait, and then get back on throttle there, and the car will go through that same arc. So as you might imagine, it becomes just a matter of driving style. And that's part of the fun of drifting and the challenge. Getting everybody to match up, or matching yourself up to everybody else. It's a more accurate way to put it. So let's do a little talk about course strategy for Meteora. This is a third gear entry track. Otherwise it's mostly second gear. There are a few places, depending on the gearing that you choose, that you can run up to third if you wish. And once we get around to the start of the track, I'll begin to break down how I like to go about it. And here we go. So it's a second gear. You come out around this turn, shift up to third, around this apex, and then stay planted. It's going to loop you around, transition, get onto the foot brake a little bit, charge up a good enough transition to make it around that kink. Clutch kick out, stay in second gear, nice wide transitions, go all the way out, roll into throttle up to third on the transition, back down, braking in transition to second, clutch kick out and around the turn, go out wide. I like to shift up to third here if I'm following somebody quick. If not, I just stay in second. Get murdered by somebody, that wasn't part of the script. You can let off throttle right there, or you can brake in order to bring it in tight. Similar story here, you can go out wide and then use your steering, braking, and angle, some combination of all that, to basically suck the car back in tight around the apex. This was all just one turn, even though it's multiple apexes, but it flows together so well that you can just do it all as one. Kind of the same thing here. There was 2 turns, but I'm basically able to just link them into one. You can actually not even have to foot brake that if you really don't want to. I didn't foot brake there, I just coasted for what felt like hours. We're just going to do the pass here. Oh, we're not going to do the pass. That's alright. I thought I was going to get a little bit farther ahead there. I probably needed to shift up to get more wheel speed if I was going to do that. So like, we'll carry it out wide here. If you stay on throttle, you'll go deeper out, but then you have to let off so that you can make it back somewhat tight on the apex. Here's where it's just one turn with like 2 apexes. So the track makes like a U shape, but you can just set your cornering radius, balance with throttle, and go around without actually having to like apex both of the turns, if that makes sense. That's the gist of how I attack this track anyway. I'm curious what you guys have to say, so I'm going to bounce out to the pits. Suo Mikala. I just extended my gears 2 clicks so I can second gear the whole track. Yep, that'll do it. That's one of those things that I try not to do a whole lot, because in real life I can't just go doing that, but it's nice in sim for sure. The challenge of going up and down from third gear is kind of fun, but it's also kind of annoying, so I get it. I remember when I was learning to drift, and I had a KA240, so like the same car that I'm driving, my red car there, you'll see it come around the screen. I edited these clips so I kind of know what happens, spoiler alerts. But we'll go to an external view. You can get a look at what my car looks like here right about now. And we'll come by the camera. I'm the third car in this rain tandem train. No helmets, no problems. But yeah, like we've got the KA240. It didn't make any power, and I remember the first time that I went around a decelerating radius turn after like a fast turn and realized I had to hit the brakes because I just shot off track into the grass. I was like, oh, the turn's getting really tight. My car's not turning in. What's this? And then I was in the grass. So that was like, because you drive a slow car, you just never use the brakes, right? And so I realized, like, what happens if I just press the foot brake in? Like, does the car stop drifting? Like, what does that even look like? I'd never tried it. I had no concept. And so, you know, sure enough, you actually need to counter steer a little bit more. So the car's already sideways, and when you use, here, need a visual aid, need a foot cam. So the car's already sideways, right? So when you use the foot brake, the sideways car, like the fronts grab, and it makes this happen, and the car wants to gain more angle. So the more that you foot brake, a lot of times, the more that you'll counter steer. It's not much, but you might have to give a little bit extra counter steer to balance the car at the same angle and keep it from getting too far sideways. And other than that, it's fine. It stays in drift. It's amazing. Everybody who drives sim knows this, but when, like, I learned, I didn't have a sim. I had to learn in real life, and so it was very slow because, you know, I'd go to an event every 4 months or something. When I was first starting out, I couldn't afford it. That was a funny time, and then also the first time that I really started like upshifting and downshifting, because again, my car for the longest time was so slow that it was all second gear all the time. I might do a third gear entry, but yeah, it was just wild. It feels so crazy to row through second up to third. Like, you do a transition and you shift from second up to third, like right here as you're going, and then you might throw in for a big deceleration zone, and that whole time you're off the throttle decelerating, easy time to clutch in, shift down to to second from third. It was just cool. So, very neat. Suo says the shifter is still coming, so I can't change 2-3-2 so easily. Ah, are you doing the paddles up here? Like, because yeah, that would be sketch. Pandemonium. Misfits, we will see you as well. Squid, have a good one. And yeah, I think we're ready. I'm gonna let you guys chill out to the rest of this song, and we will see you on YouTube and then here next week. Have a good night, guys. Peace.